Welcome to the third video in the series on the WUU2K Ultra Marathon Trail. So we're here now in the Makara Mountain Bike car park, which is the aid station we arrived at from the last section. And now we're going to be heading off to the next aid station, which is at the Windmill on top of Brooklyn Hill. So we're going to head out of here and then climb up a track called Salvation, which is just a long, relentless uphill. It's not terribly technical, it just takes a long time to get to the top, which takes us over the top of Wright Hill, where the old World War II gun emplacements are, and around the Zealandia, around the track around the outskirts of Zealandia, which is a big nature reserve. And that'll wind us all the way up to where the windmill is. And that's one of the big high points. From there it's pretty much mostly downhill for a while. So that's something to look forward to. But before you get there, there's the uphill to go. So let's get into that. So as you come out of the aid station, you're going to be turning onto Hazelwood Ave, which winds up to a little car park, and then the Salvation track leads off that. This is a little bit of a grind up, this bit. Right, so this is the start of the track for Salvation, and this just winds up a spur and gets up on top of the ridge. And then just follows it up towards the top of Wright's Hill. This is a pretty easy track to run on, it's quite well formed, but it does just seem to climb on forever and ever and ever and ever, and you just never seem to get to the top of it. So if you had a good day out in the mountain bike park and you're feeling fresh, then you can quite easily run this pretty much all the way to the top. And so that's what I'm going to have a crack at doing now. So eventually the track opens out, gets a little bit flat, a little bit downhill as it gets up on top of the ridge, and then it's a reasonably gentle climb from there up to the car park, where you're going to cross the road and do the last little bit to get up to the top of Wright's Hill. So when you reach this bit, you have a little bit of open. You can see the sky, you can see the hills in front of you. And then you dive into this big tunnel. And it looks like you're back into it again, but it won't last for long. You're only a few minutes away from the top of the track here. So you pass a couple of signs, one for a track with deliverance, and you know, you're nearly there. And now you are here. So from the time I said it'll take you a couple more minutes to get here, that took 3 minutes. So once it starts to flatten out, you know, you've just about cracked it. Right, so now we're going to head off across the road, back into the trees again, and head up to the top of the hill. So it's back into the trees again. Nice steep little bit here, but then the rest of this track is pretty much the same as what you've just been running on. Almost identical sort of track, so it's single track. It's nice and well formed. There's a few roots, a few rocks, but nothing terrible. Nothing like what the track was going up Mount Kauka. It's a lot more rough than these tracks are. So this is quite pleasant, quite fast running. So it took me 29 minutes to come up Salvation, and that was just running at a moderate pace. You know, not going all hard out, but not going at a little old man shuffle either. So it was just at a nice, comfortable, relaxed pace. So it was about 8.5 minutes per kilometre, which going uphill for me is a nice, comfortable pace. I'm sure results will vary depending on how long your legs are. So now we follow this track along, and then towards the end of it, it ducks up and we go up over the top of Wright's Hill, get some really good views of the city, and then head off around the perimeter track of Zealandia, the nature reserve. So, but once we get up on top, we should get some really good views of the city, I doubt it today. These tracks are quite sheltered, so if it's a windy day, you should be quite comfortable running through here. But it can get quite cold, particularly coming up Salvation. It can be really, really cold coming up through there. Here we are up on top of Wright's Hill. You see Wright in the background there. So from here, we're going to head up to the Windmill, which is out that way. So we're kind of almost halfway there-ish. And so the rest of the track is going to be pretty much run in the open around the Zealandia fence line. So one thing to note coming up the tracks, we just come on up Deliverance and then this little track up to the top here. On a day like today, if it's sunny, it's really dappled light in there. It's really easy to just not get your footing right and catch it on a rock or a root or something. So make sure you lift your feet up as you come through there, and don't end up, you know, spread eagled on the floor in the mud as I've just done. It can slow your race down quite a lot. Alright, so let's get on to it. Off round to the Karori Sanctuary. So as you can see from the fence beside me, we're now going around the perimeter track that runs around Zealandia, which is a huge nature reserve in the heart of the city. So done amazing stuff in there, bringing back wildlife. There's loads and loads of birds through here now, where there wasn't before, so they're doing an amazing job. And this track basically just follows the fence line around up onto the hills. There's a few really good climbs on this, and it's up and down, but overall it's climbing. So we're heading up to the windmill, which I don't think you can see, it's just over the top over there. And the track itself, it's pretty rough. It's a lot of sort of broken rock, so it's not something that you can really run too hard on without risking your ankles. So there's some good sections where you can find yourself a reasonably flat bit, safe bit to run on. But lots and lots of this is just really hard rock, which is, it's really hard on your feet when you're running. So just be careful of that. So if you were thinking that, hey, you know what, nice four-wheel drive track, I can sprint along this and make a bunch of time, I think you'll probably be disappointed somewhat. So as you can see, there's, you know, it's pretty messed up in places. As I said, there's some uphills. It's not all uphill. There's some downhill bits as well. So this is actually quite a popular track for people just out walking their dogs or taking the kids out for a Sunday walk. And this time of day, when you're coming through here in the race, it's not uncommon to have some really fat little old grannies to be strolling along here. It's quite soul destroying when they pass you on the uphills though. So you want to keep that in mind as well. There's some fat little old grannies here. Okay, so now we'll just come past an open section where you can see the road, and now we're hitting this big climb. So there's a short climb here, it ducks down again, and then you're in for a monster grind, and that takes you pretty much up to the height of the windmill, but that's just a long grind. So it's one of those ones you want to factor in, but once you get to the top, it's flattish, and then a couple ups, couple downs, and then you're at the windmill. So have a crack at running it and see how you get on. I'm going to try, but I don't think I'll get very far. Well, I must be getting fitter. It didn't seem quite so bad that time. So now we've got some reasonably friendly, slightly undulating track, and this will take us gently uphill, and then there's a couple big climbs, just short ones, and then we're at the windmill. isn't quite so hard, does it? And as you come up over this hill, the end is in sight. You'll see the windmill, another bit of a hill, and then you're there. This is a good hill to get on the crest of because you see where you're going. And that's where we're going in the distance there. So you're not there yet, but you can see where you're going. As we're saying, there's a couple of hills, you know, but each time you come to the top of one, you're one hill closer to the aid station. And about here, as with the other aid stations, you'll hear the volunteers kicking off, making a bunch of noise, and just generally being very welcoming. But these hills can be a little bit hard about this time of the race. One last hill, come on, you can do it. And that's it, you're done. And now you're at the Windmill aid station. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. So that's the end of this section. So the next section is going to be from the Windmill, heading out to the top of the tip track, and then down to Red Rocks. That's a long one, but it's mostly downhill, so it's quite a good one. Right, so enjoy your time in this aid station. This is about the only aid station that doesn't have a hill climb directly after it. So enjoy that.